Okay, today's the day. We are going to talk about tone, also known as your strongest sense. Hello and welcome to, or welcome back to the Simply CA. My name is Alana, and on this channel you are going to find the tools, tips, resources, and coaching to help you live your most authentic, truest to who you naturally are, most aligned with your unique energy, gifts, and talents life. We do that through whole food plant-based eating, as well as yoga and fitness videos, and mostly human design, lifestyle, and coaching videos. As always, if you are enjoying this content, please click on that thumbs up, the subscribe, and the notification bell so that you know every time I post a new video. Doing all of those things as well as sharing this content out really does help me push this information out into the YouTube algorithm so that other people who may benefit from the content can find it. Also, selfishly, I am really pushing towards getting that magical 1,000 subscribers, so I would really appreciate increasing those subscribe numbers. So our tone or our sense has to do with the digestion arrow. So that is that top left arrow. If that top left arrow is pointing to the left, then your tone or your sense will be one of smell or taste or outer vision. And if that top left arrow is pointing to the right, then your strongest sense or your tone will be inner vision, feeling, or touch. So let's get into what that means. As we've talked about before, that top left arrow is not only about the food that you take in, it's also about the environment that you are ingesting or the environment that you're in while you are ingesting your food. So there's a couple of layers to that one arrow. Okay, there's more than a couple of layers. There are many layers to this one arrow, and I will obviously have all of my variables videos linked in the description box. I'm also going to link the whole digestion playlist. So where sense and tone comes into play, and although they're interchangeable, we're gonna call them sense because it makes more sense than saying tone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So let's talk about it in plain, simple language. Sense. And where your sense comes into play is where you are making decisions and honing your intuition around what and how you are taking in, ingesting your food, as well as your environment, your surroundings, and the energy of the environment, your surroundings, and the energy of the people in that environment and in those surroundings. Now, your sense can also really help you to better understand what is best for you specifically to take in. And not only is this beneficial for you to understand and to cultivate so that you're taking in the correct substances and the correct environments for you, it's also a gift that you are then cultivating and sharing with others. Now, most of the time, your sense is hidden inside of a deeper human design chart. However, click on the link that's in my description to go to myhumandesign.com, and it will tell you your strongest sense right there when you enter in your information. So the beautiful thing about the senses is that they're quite literal. We're going to start off with smell. So if smell is your strongest sense, then literally, when it comes to your food and your environment, it's important for it to smell good. Now, it's important for it to naturally smell good. If you have, and this is true for any of the senses, if you have artificial fragrances or artificial stimulation coming into you, that has a quality to dull down your senses. So by overpowering your sense of smell, it actually creates that dampening experience of that sense. So it's really important for you to smell your food, to smell your environment, to sniff out your environment, to have the food sit down in front of you or have your cup of tea or coffee and smell it first. Prime yourself to ingest and to take in that food, those nutrients. Energetically, this is also that ability to smell out when something smells fishy, to have that intuitive awareness around what smells off or what smells wrong in an environment or in a situation. You may not know why, but you have that ability to be like, ooh, there's something wrong about this. There's something off about this. And that's that sense of smell that comes through. On the flip side, you can also notice what smells or what has that sense of being correct, being complete, being whole, being ripe and ready for action. So notice those physical reactions within your sinuses of, yes, I'm being called towards this smell, or, ooh, that smell is wrong. Now with taste, again, literally, this is about recognizing how your food tastes. This can be prepping your salivary glands by pulling in the taste of the air when you are about to eat, or even tasting little nibbles before the whole thing comes together. It's important that food taste good for it to deliver those nutrients to your system. Now, again, similar to artificial scents for those who have smells, artificial or overly enhanced and overly cultivated tastes, the scientific combination of fat, sugar, and salt is really important for you to strip away from. By overstimulating any of these senses, by overstimulating your sense of taste, you actually dull that intuition. So it's really important to actually strip away all of those chemicals or all of those, even if they're not chemically created, but the overstimulating version of a food. So reading the book Salt, Sugar, Fat might be really helpful for you to understand how the chemical combinations are designed to heighten and, unfortunately for you, suppress your natural sense of taste. Now, when it comes to your environment, you can be considered like a taste maker. You are somebody who is at the leading edge of things. You create what tastes good for you in your world, in your environment, in your surroundings. So that can be coming up with trends, that can be noticing what's going to take off, what's going to become a new fad, a new trend, a new way of doing something. So for you, not only developing your sense of taste yourself and creating what tastes good for you, that can be with your wardrobe, with your hairstyle, with your food, with your environment, with your color palette, but also sharing your taste for whatever it is that you're passionate about with others can help put you in that leading edge of what's next, what's new, what is that next taste. Physically, something you might notice is if you actually take in with your mouth. So where someone with smell as their strongest sense, they're going to take in with their nose. For you, you may actually take in with your mouth. You might take an open-mouthed breath to get the taste of your surroundings. Now, for outer vision people, your eyes are taking in your surroundings, your environment, which means that the look and the appearance and the aesthetic, the color palette, the lighting of what you're taking in is so important. So when it comes to eating, the look of your food, or when you're looking at a cookbook, having a cookbook that doesn't have visuals to it might not be beneficial to you, might not be inspiring to you. You might be somebody who really loves to plate your food and eat with a certain lighting so that it really enhances the visual experience. It's also important for you to recognize your surroundings, and if there's clutter or if there's something that looks wrong to you, if there's something that doesn't appeal to your eyes, work on how can you change that. Have the visuals coming into you being beautiful to you. Now, here's the key thing. When it comes to beauty and aesthetics, it's unique to each one of us. So recognizing what is beautiful to you and really allowing yourself to lean into what you find to be appealing and beautiful. You may really focus on creating not just a beautiful space for yourself, but creating a beautiful space or beautiful artwork or imagery for others as well. And this can be done in so many different ways depending on who you are and what other talents and gifts you have, but you may notice that you lean into creating that beauty not only for yourself, but for others. Those were the left-facing senses, and now for the right-facing senses. We move into inner vision, and inner vision is not a common sense, but it is that ability to imagine and envision what is appeasing and what is pleasurable for you. So taking it internally, looking and playing with the envision of something before it happens, creating that vision of your life or that vision of your plate or the vision of your food before you physically are going to be eating it. You're creating the experience for yourself and potentially sharing that creation of that experience for others before physically experiencing it. Really play with and cultivate your power of imagination. Allow yourself to be creative and playful with opening up your imagination. See images and pictures before you experience them. Future self meditations, visioning of goals and your objectives coming forwards, putting yourself in that experience before it happens, envisioning yourself doing the process before it has actually happened physically is a gift and is a strength that we all have, but it is your specific, strongest sense. It is your strongest superpower. So really allowing yourself, and I say this in a different way because a lot of the times we have had this dulled out of us. We've stepped outside of this ability to imagine and to curate and to cultivate and to build that imagery. And so for you, it's really important to start to re-empower yourself to play in your imagination. And as a gift to others, as you get excited for a future, you have that ability to generate that excitement in others as well. So you can build that team around you to get that vision up and going. So you're not in it alone. You can be if you choose to be, but you can also empower and share others to jump on board and to be in that vision and create that vision with you. Now for feeling, this is the feeling of energies. It's not the physical touch. Touch is the next one. So this is that ability to feel energies. You are very open and receptive to the experience of the energy that you are around. So it's important for you to notice if you are overstimulated by energies. So that can be electronics, that can be lights or sounds or TV, it can be other people, it can be a dynamic, but really recognizing where your energy is overstimulated by feeling too much coming at you and allowing yourself time and space to be removed from that stimulation. Now, when it comes to eating, this is about feeling like you are in a good space when you're eating. So trying to eat, depending on other components of your digestion arrow, but noticing where you can strip away a lot of additional stimulus and give yourself some peace and quiet from other energies coming at you while you are ingesting. If you're with family or out at a restaurant and the space just doesn't feel good, you might decide that it's better for you to either eat beforehand or afterwards, or you can even take a moment to step outside or to step out of that space. And like the other physical senses, overstimulation can be a way to numb. So recognize if you are feeling uncomfortable, using a stimulation to numb instead of feeling that discomfort. Really allow yourself to recognize and feel into the discomfort so that you can move into a different energetic space. And when it comes to sharing this gift with others, this is that ability to recognize if the feeling of the space is complete, if it's whole, if there's something missing, or if there's something that feels off. So instead of it smelling or tasting off, it might feel off, or it might feel whole and complete. You can recognize when someone else is feeling off kilter, and you might be able to address that sense within them and help them get back onto their level platform. Now, you don't have to be a savior for everyone. So make sure that you do have strong boundaries and that you are allowing yourself to enter into and step out of those environments wherever you need to. And finally, we get to touch. And touch is that tactile sense of touching and kinesthetically being part of your physical environment, utilizing your hands within your ingestion of your environment. When it comes to your food, that may be actually pinching the salt or putting the food in your hand before creating the meal, the dish. It might be plating with your hands or eating with your hands. When you're grocery shopping, it is actually physically feeling the food. In the physical experience of your life, it's that ability to physically touch your environment, feel the fabric of your clothing or of your blankets or your pillows, feel the handle of a spatula, hold the hand of your friend or put your hand on somebody's shoulder. You might notice yourself moving into those physical healing practices like massage therapy or Reiki. Even though with Reiki, it's that like feeling of the energy, there's a connection there that can happen. But it's important for you to have that physical interaction with your environment, with the people around you, and not just an intellectual environment. So even with electronics, it's having a touch screen or utilizing a pen and paper or utilizing an Apple pen instead of a mouse might be a more tactile way for you to interact with your technology. And there you have it. Those are the 6 different strongest senses. Let me know in the comment section down below what your strongest sense is and how you recognize it show up or how you are learning to lean more into it. Also, feel free to ask some questions if something doesn't quite feel right or if you're not too sure. And if you have more personal questions, please click the link in the description box to book a one-off human design reading, or if you have something going on in your life and you want something a little bit more in-depth, I also offer ongoing human design life coaching. So you can click that link in my description if you want a little bit more personal interaction than a quick reply back or a quick comment. With that, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this content, click the little thumbs up, the subscribe button, and notification bell, and I will see you in the next video.